This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or for more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Well, my name's Kent Martin from Northwest Oklahoma, close to Alva, and was invited to be a part of the grower panel. And I really think it's interesting to be a part of a grower panel to share our thoughts and ideas, but also think it's really interesting and unique to have that grower panel at the beginning. For me, I notice a lot of times it seems like the greatest value is when the audience is engaged. And it seems like the grower panel is a great way to start off the day in that way, to be able to get people engaged, to get them interested in your topic. And I think at the end of the day, the question is, does the audience go home with what they wanted and needed out of the program? And when they're engaged, I think it helps to make that happen. There were several that had some good questions, some discussion about biological impacts and interactions with emerging technologies was one that actually became a big part of a topic that transitioned into my later talks. So that was one that obviously was on people's minds that they wanted to think about and talk about. I think other interesting technologies in terms of grain handling and things that we see in the future, that everyone has their own idea of what will be important for their operation. And I think looking at that variety of topics that we talked about gets everyone stimulated and thinking about different things that might be important for their operation as well. So often there is one missing link in the system. So we see these kind of programs organized in this way because it brings together everyone from those that have the theoretical knowledge and the scientific knowledge to those in the intermediate parts that implement the technology or send that technology out to farmers, and then the farmers who actually use it. When we have all of these different people together in the same room, we can have those discussions and those questions and really connect the two together. I discussed a lot of different options for cropping systems and crop rotations and how those decisions might be made on what you grow and what you might put into a primary rotation, what you might put into a rotation as an alternative crop or an opportunity crop. We talked a lot about different things that might need to be managed differently as you look at these different crops and considerations you might need to take. I think at the end, the big points were, number one, to plan out your crop rotation appropriately and make sure that you're planned to be successful in the crop rotation. And number two, when we look at crop rotations and crops in general, focus on income and value coming out of that rotation as a whole and not just the individual crops, because we see opportunities within a rotation that add a lot of value, and that value shouldn't just be dismissed in terms of income for a crop. Yeah, the rotation decisions, I think, come about from a variety of ways, and I think that's all dependent on someone's knowledge level and experience level. And I think the important thing is to recognize the resources that are available, and some of those may be as simple as getting a herbicide guidebook. K-State puts out a great one that is very informative in terms of what you can do from a herbicide standpoint in crop rotations, right down to talking to those individuals at the universities who develop publications like that, or your agronomist who walks the fields who sees more different crop rotations or herbicides that are used. Some of us will use our local cooperative professionals, and others will use neighbors and friends and parents. And I think that's a very valuable part that I see a lot in my area, is neighbors calling neighbors and asking what worked and what didn't, and realizing that we have different challenges with different environmental conditions, and how the experience of one person, even in that individual year, can assist a neighbor with their decisions. So all of those, and it goes beyond that. There's so many people that can be used as resources, and then of course online resources as well.